Okay, bringing up
Hi,
the
Lynn.
feed.
It's Marie. Are you getting online? Okay. Okay, Lynn. Okay,
Okay, we
listen.
should
Lynn
be.
can't get on.
Okay.
All right, I'll mute and call her in a minute.
I
Once
will
we get to
mute and call
Kathy's
you.
speaking part. All right, so we're live, everybody. I'm going to kick off the meeting. All right.
Lynn says
Thank
it's
you. Thank you, everybody, for joining the East Springfield Board and Police Beat meeting for August 18th, 2020. Just wanted to remind everyone, if you missed this video presentation, it'll be on our Facebook page. It will also be on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you join there, because we're trying to get to 100 likes or 100 subscribers, as they say on YouTube. The other thing I'll say is we'll be taking questions through the meeting live on Facebook. We will bring those up, at different points of the meeting in the conversation. So go ahead and ask any questions as they come up. And now going to the next part, I will turn the meeting over to our President, Kathleen Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the East Springfield Neighborhood Council Board and the Community Police Beat Management Team meeting. Let us start our meeting as we usually do with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to open this meeting officially. We do have a quorum. Again, welcome. Everybody's issues and comments and inputs important. If for some reason you have a question, or when you have a question, please, as Guy said, feel free to type it right into the Facebook Live, and we will address that before the end of the meeting, as long as you type it in before the end of the meeting. Our supporting membership is usually handled in June or May. If anybody has not sent in their supporting membership, if you want to look on our website, you'll be able to find out how to do that. And it helps us pay for postage, etc. Thank you. Okay, the next topic I have is the monthly conference calls with the Plaza Management. They continue. We did announce at our last meeting that the Springfield Plaza is not financially successful at this point, and that the property is in transition to the bank. There are two separate parcels. One is the parcel that the old cinemas is on, and that is not quite in as bad financial shape as the other parcel that the old Plaza and the Stop and Shop and the Burger King and McDonald's is on. So they're two separate. But bottom line is they are looking towards transferring that property over back to the bank. We know that there are significant trash and other issues. Some of them have been mitigated. We've worked closely with the Plaza current ownership, and they've worked closely with the bank to get them to release some money to clean the lot 2, maybe 3 times, or pick up trash 2, maybe 3 times a week. So if anybody has issues, if you could please get in touch with us, we'd be glad to communicate that, as the Plaza has asked us to the Plaza, to Joy and Chuck. The same would be true for potholes or any other issues that you see over in the Plaza. City services, again, are still operating, so please call 311. I know that people in East Springfield have been calling 311 quite a bit, which is good, because the city and appropriate agencies can only do something about the things they know about. So please continue to do that. Well, let's see. The census, if you haven't filled out your census yet, please do that. And I've already addressed the supporting membership. The Community Preservation Act, I think we did announce this at the last meeting, but The Community Preservation Act Committee did vote on our application, and they've recommended to the City Council that our walking path at Marshall Roy Field be funded for $101,000. The City Council will vote on that in the fall. Our small business application for the grants have been reviewed, and applicants have been notified of the results, and they will be receiving their checks by the end of the week. Final results with that will be posted on our website once we're finished distributing the monies. Once we're finished distributing, the funds. Okay. Are there questions so far, please? Anybody?
No.
No? Okay. Trash on.
Nothing online.
Okay, we're continuing to get complaints or comments about the trash on Page Boulevard and multiple other locations. We're continuing to get complaints about some of the businesses and residents where their grass is getting much longer than it needs to be. So we'll be addressing that and following up on some of those. We also, for a zoning issue and land use issues, we've received complaints about vehicles and ATVs that have been seen on Marshall Roy multiple times. We encourage you to continue to report. The police have asked us to ask you to continue to report when you see it, not the day later, but when we see it. The Cruz Street and St. James Avenue and St. James Boulevard Department of Transportation project is still in design. However, the Neighborhood Council is in receipt of a tentative copy of the 25% design. The city is right now reviewing it, and we're going to take a look at it, and then the 25% design review meeting will be set up by the state. And at this point, I'm told it's probably going to be a Zoom type format, but it's not time to set it yet. So I'm not going to worry about how we're going to have the meeting until we know when the meeting is going to be. Still pending is the updated Page Boulevard directional sign at Hawmont and Page, and still pending is the no through traffic at Page and St. James. I followed up on that today, and actually the person who's in charge of that is not sure why those have not been up already, why they're not up already. So he's going to check on that. Next on my list, I have the used car license hearing for 7/24/7/34 Page Boulevard was held at the City Council last night on August 16th. The City Council did take our recommendations and voted on the recommendations that have been agreed upon by us and by the petitioner. The City Council will vote again in September to make it final. So we do have some additional time to have conversation, and the petitioner will again come in and talk with the board about his plans, just to make sure all of the fine details are in order, but they seem to be much in order. City Councilor Fenton did take what we gave to the city and managed to champion it for us so that it was a fairly painless presentation. Complete streets. There's going to be a representative from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission at our September 1st meeting. And more information about this can be found on our website. And we've included the website on this page. This website will give you and us, everybody, an opportunity to make suggestions on streets, locations, improvements, anything that you think needs to be looked at, whether it be sidewalks or stop signs or crosswalks or roadway changes. And there's a chance for you, every single person, to fill out the little form and send it into the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission so that it can be considered for part of the city's complete street project. But the representative will be here at our next meeting on September 1st. It's just good to be able to have a direct link to get something to someone who can maybe do something about what we're looking for. Okay? John?
Kathy, can I just say something about Page Boulevard? I think the sign is down. The big sign that was like in front of the Forest House or that big house out there.
Yeah,
It's down.
that
It's,
page in Bircham.
yes, it's moved, I think, out further between Berkshire and Pasco on Page Boulevard.
Okay, we'll just make sure I know exactly what we're talking about, and we'll see if we can get that back up if it's supposed to be up.
Yeah,
Okay, Lynn,
Okay.
thank you. Pasco. Okay. Anything else on what I was talking about before I throw it back to John? No? Okay, going once, going twice. John Kosky?
So Kathy, I think what we'd like to do we want to just cover some house things, or would it be better, or does it make sense to, since we have police representatives here and the sheriff's
Sure.
department here, have them
Sure.
report out to us
Let's-
on?
We're gonna bump over this slide and go to the next slide then, right?
Yeah, is that okay, Guy? Can you do that?
He's doing it.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so
Okay,
while
so
he's,
John Kosky's the chairman of our beat management team, and he's gonna take it from here for now.
yeah, and then we can hop back to that. I think it's,
Sounds like a plan.
yep, this sounds good. Be a good time to get this done. So we have with us this evening, we have Lieutenant Sean Arpin from the Springfield Police Department, Julio Vasquez, who is our police officer who takes care of our ordinance issues, Sue Haley Arce, the community police liaison, and Charles Rutt from the Sheriff's Department. So I'd like to turn it over to Lieutenant Sean Arpin, who will report out on policing activity over the past month.
Okay, usually I used to be in the South and I would have a ton of crime.
Surprise.
So I had to limit it because I was boring people to death. But I only have four reports, so I'm probably gonna go in a little in depth and read them as they're written instead of just picking out the important things, if that's all right with you guys.
Give it a try. We'll tell you if you're boring us.
Yes.
Not really.
Okay,
Thank you, Sean.
all right. So on 8/1, well, it occurred at just around 10:40 p.m. to 11 p.m. and somewhere in that process, we had the home invasion, which was located at 1154 Page Boulevard, apartment number 2. It's just down a few houses down from the bar there
Mhm.
on the corner. And it's like a duplex.
Yeah.
And just what I know about it, I'm going to read the report, but it sounds like the people there had some drugs on them, and it seems like they were being robbed for their drugs. What I get a feeling on it. So I'm going to read the report. I know that they haven't gotten any further on suspects. It's basically it's 3 white males and a black male or something between the age of 20 and 30. Not much to go on. So I'm going to read the report. At around 11 o'clock, officers were dispatched for a report of a home invasion. They later identified a Georgiana Seymour. She was on Snapchat with a friend, told that friend what was happening, who then reported it to the police. So this was called in by a third party. Apparently she has a cell phone that she can only make phone calls through apps or something. The third party relayed that there was two males, both with knives, who broke into the house and were threatening the occupants of the house. Officers arrived. By then they were gone, checked the perimeter of the house. Occupants saw saw the occupants met the officers at the front door. All they gave for a description was one Hispanic male, dark colored hoodie, red shorts, mask with a firearm. One Hispanic male, dark colored hoodie, dark colored pants, also a mask, and with a taser. One black male, tall, dark colored hoodie, dark colored pants, mask with a knife. And another Hispanic male, dark colored hoodie, dark colored pants, mask also with a knife. So we had 2 knives, a taser, and a firearm. They stated that they got into a black Toyota RAV4 and headed west on Page Boulevard. Nobody was able to get a plate, apparently. No license plate was gotten. They stated that 4 individuals kicked in the back door. One of the occupants, Alexander Plazik, was laying on the couch on the first floor and was engaged first by the suspects. Mr. Plazik stated that once they came in and saw him, they kept asking for, "Where's Z? Where's the shit? Where's the Audi?" Mr. Plazik said the Hispanic male pointed what he believed to be a real firearm at him and said, "Don't get up or I'll pop." Mr. Plazik complied and stated another Hispanic male then pointed a taser at him. The 2 males demanded he run his pockets, means empty everything out of his pockets, and they demanded his cell phone. He gave them the phone. He stayed on the couch. He said he was in fear for his life. He told them that he didn't know what they were talking about, and they don't know anybody named Z. While these 2 men stayed with Mr. Plazik, the 2 other men then headed upstairs to the 2 bedrooms. And each subject took a separate door to go into and confront who was ever in there looking for this guy Z. Again, they didn't know they claim they don't know who he was talking about. Things were flipped upside down, and it appeared that they were searching for something. At one point, it says he took a swipe at Mrs. Seymour with a knife. She was able to step back and avoid the attack. At that point, her son, Leonidas Stratton, who was in the room with her, started to cry. The suspect seemed surprised by the presence of a baby, but still remained there. Then the other bedroom door opened, drawing attention of the invader, and Miss Seymour was able to close the door and block it with various items and barricade herself in. They just continued to say they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Eventually, the subjects went downstairs. Then they went down to the basement and rummaged through a bunch of things, dumping things all over the place. She heard them going up and down the stairs several times in a frantic manner. After they were sure that Z was not there hiding somewhere, they left the house. She said she then ran out to the door to see where they were going. All she observed was them getting in that car and taking off westerly. Let's see. So that's when she called a friend to come get her. And then now there's a twist to this. I know it's long and boring. Miss Seymour and Mr. Plazik did mention to officers that they believe this is related to the stabbing that happened earlier in the night. Miss Seymour stated her boyfriend, who is Zachary Stratton, who was stabbed along with his friend Timothy Sarlin in an Audi on Wendell Place earlier in the night. There was a separate report of that. Mr. Plazik was adamant with officers that the previous stabbing and this incident were somehow related and orchestrated by the same individual, Keenan DeBoer. Keenan DeBoer was not described as one of the 4 masked males on scene. He stated that Zachary and Keenan have a rocky relationship and that he believes he had seen the tall black suspect, an unidentified black suspect, with Keenan in the past, just through his physical attributes. The officers checked the basement, observed boxes and bags all knocked over. It's all consistent with somebody looking for drugs, in my opinion. That's not a fact, but it's still being investigated. But they were not able to locate any cameras in the area, I don't believe. Let me see what the detectives, they were not able to get any trace evidence on scene. They canvassed the area for surveillance cameras, and it came up with negative results at this time. They were planning a second canvass to occur in better lighting, because the victim said they could possibly ID the suspect if they had any photos. So that's it's still being investigated. But that was a targeted thing. That's not just random people at home. So I don't think anybody should be nervous thinking that they're next. Any questions on that one? All right.
No.
So then we had, that was the only robbery. We had one aggravated assault. It was threat to commit a crime and assault with a dangerous weapon. This occurred on July 26th at 4:37 p.m. It occurs at 549 Page Boulevard, the Pride gas station. Apparently, there might be more to this one too. Officers were dispatched to the Pride gas station for a disturbance. Upon arrival, they met Stephanie Nichols. Miss Nichols stated she just had a gun pulled out on her. She went on stating that she pulled into the gas station, but all the pumps were full. So she waited at pump number 4. After a few minutes, she approached and asked if the people in a black Ford Ranger bearing Connecticut tags occupying the pump could hurry up. At this time, a black male wearing basketball shorts, a tank top with a graying beard exited the driver's seat and began to berate Miss Nichols with insults, also stating he will punch her in the face and to call her boyfriend so he could beat him up too. Fearing for her safety, Miss Nichols called her boyfriend, Michael Kavanaugh, due to him only being down the street. So now Mr. Kavanaugh arrived on scene, and another male, a Hispanic male wearing a blue t-shirt and black shorts, exited the passenger side of the Ford Ranger. This Hispanic male then pulled a small firearm out of his pocket, pointing it at Miss Nichols and Mr. Kavanaugh. Mr. Kavanaugh saw the firearm being pulled out and stated, "Are you really going to shoot us over this?" Once hearing this statement, the unknown black male scolded the Hispanic male, saying, "Yo, put that shit away. Let's get out of here." They then got into their car and took off east on Page Boulevard. They were able to get video from the Pride gas station. Actually, I don't know if there might be video. I didn't get any information. It's not updated on the case notes that they attained any video as of yet. So that's an ongoing investigation there. All we have listed here on the report is two unknown suspects, one black male, 40 to 50, and white Hispanic male, 25 to 35. That's all we have for that. That's one burglary / B&E. This was on July 24th, 5:18 p.m. at 101 Wollaston Street. There's two suspects for this one. It's INSA on 506 Cottage Street. That's the place that was broken into. It's apparently an marijuana.
That's the medical marijuana store. Yep.
Correct. So there was a response to Cottage Street for the report of an attempted break. When the officers arrived, they didn't find any evidence of that, and nobody was there. So they called back with it being a false alarm. Upon reviewing security footage later on, it was found that a black male in his 20s wearing a black shirt that said Polaroid on the front, with a blue medical mask, gray Croc shoes, and dark pants, along with a black female also in her 20s with long wavy hair, no mask, dark clothing. They were on the property during the time that the alarm went off. The unknown female attempted to open the main door by pulling on the handle, but found the door locked. The camera system got a clear and detailed image of both suspects. You guys still hearing me?
Yep,
Yep.
we are.
Okay, I just want to check. I don't want to have to read it twice.
Thank you.
The camera system got a clear and detailed image of both the suspects. The alarm itself came from a roof window. Mr. Donahue stated that's the reporting party that came to open the place, stated that they did find a ladder on the side of the building from the previous night, and believe they may have climbed up on the roof and could be seen on internal cameras inside the building looking into the building. No damage was reported, and it appears that nobody made it inside. Nothing was taken. Detectives responded, and here, I'll read what they said. Let's see. Still images of the two subjects were posted to the news and social media sites for possible identification. A short time after posting, tips as to the possible identities of the individuals began coming into the police headquarters. The female was identified as Miss Erica Gonzalez. Oh, I can't give out the names. They're juvies. I'm sorry. So pretend you didn't hear that. So anyways, it was two juveniles that were positively identified, so they're submitting warrants for them. I can tell you that there are two juveniles that are on the run. They're runaways from a DCF or facility. Let's see, where is it? DCF, and are currently on the run from foster homes. But they do have them named, and they will be, if they haven't already, submitting for complaints or warrants for them, for their arrest. All right. So the last report we have is a theft from a motor vehicle. That was at 8:20 in the morning. It happened between 8:20 in the morning and 9:40 in the morning. 149 Corando Drive, and the charges were larceny under $1,200 and a B&E into the vehicle. Apparently, a poor guy trying to make a good living, a decent living as a landscaper, parked his trailer and went on to work at someone's home. And while they were, somebody helped themselves to a weed whacker and a backpack leaf blower. And he returned, they were gone. They haven't been able to find any cameras on that, so all we can hope for is that those items show up somewhere. So one of them was the weed whacker was approximately $300, and the Echo backpack leaf blower was approximately $400. So that covers the Schedule 1 crimes. Like I said, I've never done a meeting with such little crime. Usually I have tons. So I don't know I'm not really familiar with what else you guys want to know at this point.
Well, at this point, we would just, I don't know, Guy, if you want to, if there are any questions that are appropriate for the lieutenant, or we could go on to Julio, Officer Vasquez, and we could report out on, any ordinance issues. Which, do you have anything there? Do you want to cover now, Guy?
Yeah, I have a few things. Okay, so
we'll do that then. Yep.
First question, somebody asked if there was details about the male who had been riding around on the bike who had assaulted a woman on Bowles Park by the school. That actually, I don't think it would be on this report. I know, Kathy, you had I think you had details, but maybe on next month's report, but.
Right. I don't know if the lieutenant knows anything about that one. It was, I think it happened on a Tuesday, not within this report time frame, and a lady walking in front of Bowles School, just on a walk, was approached. Are you familiar with that, Lieutenant?
I am not.
Okay. She was approached by somebody on a bike who proceeded to drive around and assault her by grabbing her buttocks. And I mean, Julio, did you have anything else on that, or?
No, ma'am.
Say what else? Okay.
I'm not aware of that incident.
That's okay. And the information I have, I did take the liberty of following up with the victim today, and she had been reached out. The Detective Bureau reached out to her, and they are looking at some photos at this point. But the word is, please be aware if you're walking to make sure no one's pulling up behind you on a bicycle.
I'll have to look that up. Do you know what date that occurred? Because there had to be an indecent A and B on that.
Yeah,
The
it
11th.
was the 11th. Yeah,
August 11th?
correct,
It was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, right?
correct. 5:30, 6 o'clock, because I was late coming into my meeting here.
Okay.
I had the text message from Kathy. I'm gonna be late. I'm running down the street. All right. So the next one was there's continued drag racing going on Saturday night in the Page Roosevelt area. Some people said they called in. Now I did see a report earlier today, a story about drag racing in the city in general. So the main question I think is what is being done to remediate some of the issues with drag racing going on in the area?
Well, I can answer some of that. I know that pretty much is completely in the hands of Lieutenant Julio Toledo, who works the 4 to 12. He's the North Lieutenant. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Actually, they just had, it was a drag racing detail the other day in which one of the guys decided to drive at an officer, and they actually discharged their weapon into the vehicle. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So he's been making arrests. He has a zero tolerance. I don't know if he hasn't been focusing enough over on Page Boulevard. Where is this occurring? At Page and the strip of Roosevelt, or?
They were saying Page and Roosevelt this Saturday. So I would assume it would be around that intersection.
Okay. So I'm trying to think, if you're going to drag race, I guess that strip from like Central to going past that could be done. I can. I would
Lieutenant, I
advise,
believe it's Industry Ave.
right, Industry and
Oh,
Memorial is
Industry Ave?
probably involved.
Industry Ave.
well,
Industry,
I would think that Julio is aware of that and has been going there
Okay.
during those overtimes. But I will follow up with him and just to find out where his head is at and if he's been going there. Because, like I said, he's zero tolerance. He's making arrests all the time. It's not always drag racing because you don't usually catch him in the act, but you get the unlicensed driver, you get the guy with the warrant, or, you hassle him with tickets for other things like, tail lights out and things like that. You know what I mean? And again, he has zero tolerance, and he pretty much claims ownership of that detail. So, but I will follow up with him and tell him that you guys are concerned with that area. Make sure that something's being done there.
All right. The next one was somebody said that currently right now on Ardmore Street, there is loud music and they cannot hear on their phone. So I think the first thing I would say is if there's loud music that's above a certain limit, definitely call the police number to report it if you feel like it's a problem, and then I'll address that to the police officers. Because I don't know from the Facebook feed to like, there could be a delay because the people who are on the call are not gonna.
do you want to respond to that, Lieutenant?
Well, I would bring that to the attention of Officer Vasquez. I'm assuming this is happening in the evening. This isn't happening all hours of the day. I need a little more information.
From the Facebook post, they're saying it's happening right now.
They should be
So-
calling the
Right
number.
now.
Yep.
Oh, right now. Do we have a number on Ardmore or a general
Uh,
ballpark? Or
Should I say the house number that they're reporting on the live feed, or I can text it to Kathy
Well,
and then she can pass it
I
along?
would,
Or
yeah, have her text it to me because I'll have them put a call out there right now and go do it right now.
well, technically, it's typed into the live feed, so either way,
Type into the live feed, so why don't you just say it, guys?
it's 109 Ardmore.
Is the problem location, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
Okay, so they're cranking the music right now as we speak.
that's what they're saying on the live feed.
All right, well, after the meeting, I'm using my phone for the meeting, so after the meeting, I'll call and I'll have a car respond over there.
Okay, and then the next one was there's like just a slew, and this was something that came in earlier, and I've seen it myself because I live in the area as well. Cars and ATVs and motorcycles just going through Marshall Roy like every weekend. And we were driving through, and it's even the worst one was we were driving through and someone was parked in the playground. So they took their car and physically drove into the playground area, which if there's a kid lying on the ground, that could be, a problem. And they're driving over sprinklers and stuff like that. I know, there's been people who have reported to the Facebook page prior to this, and also I've called, and sometimes you call multiple times. If there's a trouble in an area like that where they're constantly going in and driving physically into a park, could there be like an enhanced policy of like, let's start ticketing people as soon as, because if you tell them to leave, the car with the picture that came through last time, I've reported twice, and this person reported on Facebook. It's like, it's the same car that's just driving all over the park and over baseball diamonds and stuff. So it's like, okay, you're dropping off equipment, but now you're just tooling around over baseball diamonds.
So is this the same guy doing it?
There's a white station wagon that drives over that park a couple weekends in a row. And there's a picture, which I can actually, Kathy, I forwarded it to you. Maybe I'll forward that to Haley. It's kind of like a grainy picture, but it's a white station wagon that I know I've called on and multiple other people have called on. And there's other cars that do it too, but that one has been a couple weeks in a row where they're just driving around the park. And they were the one that was parked in the playground.
Can we get a plate at some point, possibly, so we can track this guy down and go to his house?
Yeah, the police have talked to them and kicked them out of the park before.
Oh, they've kicked them out. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're coming back is what you're saying, Guy, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if like either they're not getting fined or the fine's not enough to make them think, well, maybe I won't drive in the park this weekend,
Well, I'll have to let the Charlie car do some DPRs out there and hopefully catch them. I mean, what are the predominant hours that this occurs? During days, between 8 and 4?
During the daytime.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm out there
car,
during the day, so.
Yeah, and it's usually like Saturdays and Sundays. And then they'll have ATVs out there while there's baseball games going on. And we were actually at the park, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we were, a friend of ours was having a game, so we went there to like socially distance wave through a window and such. And there was ATVs driving in between the baseball players. So like flip a baseball player on an ATV, that I would imagine would not work well.
I mean, I think what you're saying, Guy, if I can interrupt, I think what you're saying is that there are an assortment of people who are using the park with their ATVs and motor vehicles from sometimes 8 in the morning periodically, and I've had reports up to like 9:30 at night. The other night, I know CAD got a call for one that went in at 9:30. So somehow we've got to get a handle on the cars and the damage they're doing to the park.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, if they're actually doing damage to the park, then they're going to be charged. I mean, if I catch them out there and they're ruining the park, that's malicious damage, as far as I'm concerned. And
But
I would charge.
ruining might not be really obvious because there's a sprinkler system that driving along you might not see. It's not until the sprinklers come on that you discover that there's damage done, I would think.
Right. Where are they getting on? Behind the school? Is that where they're going onto the field, or is it on the other side?
The plows last winter actually knocked down a bunch of the posts. There's a couple posts you can fit through on the left, but there's usually cars parked there.
Going in over there?
Yeah, but the ones on the right, I've seen them go in through because the plows just destroyed them and they haven't been replaced yet.
And who replaces those?
We are working with the park department to get those replaced. They're on a list. And also the park department, do what you can do.
I wonder if temporarily they could put a barrier there or something, like a Jersey barrier or something.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That's a great idea. Or even I'll take a log.
There's a few places that would need to be taken care of. And, you know, in the long range, that's what we've talked about, reaching out to Parks Department and having them make it so that vehicles can't get in there.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point of putting all those pylons there,
Right.
Yeah.
was
But
to
they
keep them
have,
from having access.
yeah, they've been knocked down. As I know there's a section over by the neighborhood council building where they pile the snow, they knock them down, and you can actually see tracks in and out of there now where the city vehicles go in and out on a regular basis. So they drive all over the field with their truck picking up trash. They got an electric box over there they service, and they're in and out all the time. So you can go over there and look, and you'll see where things have driven in and out. They've been driven in and out so much. So it needs to have a redesigned system where you've got a locked gate for the city vehicles, and then there's just no way of getting in anywhere else. That would solve the problem for us, would be just to not make it possible for vehicles to get in. But in the meantime, I think what we're saying is it's happening. People are seeing it. Some people may be going out there thinking, I have a permit to go out here. I'm just setting up my stuff and it's okay to do. Others may be doing it just to be malicious. But I guess what we're asking is, when we do catch them, you know, is it something where the police department has the authority to actually ticket them and make it something a little more painful when they're caught, so that they don't come back? Or are we just asking them to leave in hopes that they don't come back, kind of thing?
I'm assuming they've been asking them to leave, is what I'm assuming.
Okay.
That would be, Officer Vasquez could tell you if there's an ordinance. I don't have
Okay. Yeah. I don't.
an ordinance.
Yep.
If there's an ordinance violation, I don't know. I mean, I know you can't be in the park after dark,
Right.
but I don't know of any specific law that addresses driving in a park. There could be one, but I don't know of anyone. That's why I would be thinking it would be damaging. But like you said, you know, is it possible damage could be being done and nobody knows about it? And
Yeah.
with sprinkler systems and such, you know. So I'd have to look into that. Or Julio, is there any ordinance violation for driving a vehicle into the park?
I have to look it up. Right now, off the top of my head, I have nothing for that.
Sir, I reached out to the park department today and I asked them for a couple of free signs that can be placed in appropriate places so the police have more ability to, something to the effect, and the park department will figure out the sign. No vehicles allowed in park. Trespassers will, you know, it's trespassing. So, I mean, the park department suggested that we do that, because then at least it's clear that they're not supposed to be there.
Right.
And I think
that
park
would be
rules.
I think that would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
And as far as the motorcycles goes, I have to deal with this at every sector, every meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's such a hard thing to deal with because we are like caught in the middle.
yeah,
The minute we pursue anybody and something happens, they call for our heads.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can get them safely is we do have an occasional detail out there for that, where they're try to get them when they get off the bike and then run up and grab them. But that's had a not a very high success rate, not enough to deal with the problem that we have. So we basically cannot pursue them. We cannot activate lights and pursue them if it's only for driving that bike. You know, if they're leaving a crime, yes, then we would pursue them, depending on the crime, how dangerous the crime was. But even then, I mean, it's a big problem. The
Yeah.
bicycles are bad too. Downtown, the bicycles can be real bad. But yeah, I saw them going down Boston Road, and everything inside me wants to chase them down until they crash or stop or whatever. But that's the old days. That's not allowed anymore. So I don't really have an answer other than that they have been doing the those details, and I can speak to Sergeant Wadlager and see if they can have somebody focus one of them over in that area, because I know the village has got a lot of those kind of bikes. We catch them on the street. If we can get them, we can confiscate the bike.
Right.
And we can charge them with no license because they're driving without a license, because you can't drive one. So even if you have a license, you can be charged for no license to drive one of those. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of getting the people. They
Yes.
see the police and they take off, and we can't chase them.
Right.
The minute I turn on my blue lights and go after them, and they turn into an oncoming car and get killed, then the liability is all on us, and they're gonna blame us. All that kid did was drive a motorcycle on the street. He didn't deserve to die. You know, that's kind of what we're getting. It's tough.
Yes.
It's tough. Well, don't think it's not for any want. We would all love to chase them and get them. I mean, that's kind of part of what, you do as a cop, but they've gotten away from that, and they're going to hold us responsible. So I don't really have an answer for that, other than like just maybe refocusing one of those details out there, and hopefully they can get a guy when he stopped. If we had a couple undercover guys, and they could just run up and grab him, that kind of thing.
So can we for at least the short term, do a special attention, as you said, or a DPR or whatever, and make and ensure that everybody who responds there knows that we've got to ID them and get them off the park. And
Yep.
that would be wonderful. And
I
then
will absolutely do that.
and we'll work on getting some signage up, and John will work on getting some kind of barrier to help make it more difficult, so that people don't say, oh, I just thought I could do this. And the city's not issuing any permits, like permits to use the park yet, except for some ball teams, and it's only for limited use. So there's no need for massive picnics going on there. So, okay,
Right.
that sounds like a plan.
Good. Yes.
Alright.
Okay.
And I forwarded off the pictures of the repeat offender to Suhaili, and she just forwarded that off. And I also just forwarded, we went into dirt bikes from there. Somebody had sent an email to our website, and it was on that same topic with some details of stuff that happened this past weekend. I just forwarded that to Suhaili as well. So those are sent. And then, sorry, there's just a long list I'm going through. We're almost there.
Okay.
The last one, we had the dirt bikes, so that was covered. And then the next one was for ordinance, which was related to the trash that has been reported in different areas. Kathy touched base on earlier. They were saying that our exit 4291, the trash is piling up and along there. So just if ordinance and Officer Vasquez, if you could be aware that Page Boulevard from the 291 to St. James, it seems like there's a lot of reports of trash right now. Oh, and there was one other question too. That was a general SPD question. Somebody asked why the police do not respond to their Facebook page.
I don't know. Do we have a Facebook page? Because I don't have Facebook. Are you
Uh,
saying
That's Ryan Walsh that's responsible for our Facebook page.
Yeah, we're not allowed to get involved in any of that that kind of stuff. Any of that social media, we've got a policy. So
Right.
now that we have a policy, which is probably only about a year ago that we got a policy, I think that's all handled by him. So, I mean, I can ask him. I see him quite often. I can ask him, is that something he's supposed to be doing, or is responding? I don't see why he wouldn't be responding. I mean, that's his job.
Right.
So
So,
I'll just.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you
I'll
for
just
looking
have to
into
ask
that. And there's details in the feed from today's meeting on, people who was asking and the response about that. So if you guys wanted to touch base That was that. So that's all the police ones I have at this time. Sorry, I was reading through.
So Sue Haley, do you have anything to do with that Facebook, or is that just Ryan?
No, Ryan is our media relations officer, but I do believe that the individual that is typing that on the feed was more so inquiring about us physically being able to type in responses as we're on the Zoom meeting. So I just think that's incredibly difficult to participate, be here and aware, as well as also response at the same time.
Right.
Oh,
Love to, it's just, it would be very difficult. Even still, I'm down looking at my phone and I just feel as though I'm being rude, for lack of a better term. Not looking at you all and our live, but I'm also looking at the feed and the questions that are being asked. So it is very difficult to do all of them at the same time.
no, and I understand, and I look like that all the time when I'm looking at my phone. And I asked for clarification, and they said that it was about the actual page itself and not here.
Okay.
But I have to say, like from our perspective, I don't know if this is the SPD's policy, but sometimes you see stuff that you have in the feed that they may get responses not in the feed because you may not want to make it public. So I'm not speaking for SPD. I know from our Facebook page, we get stuff there sometimes, and we'll either pull it down and go separately, just because for privacy. If somebody says, my neighbor at such and such, blah, 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 did this, we don't want to put that on the feed. We'll go back to them separately and then forward that along. So that could be, what's happening with some of the Facebook page, but I don't know.
Well, I
We
think,
can find out from Ryan. We can find out from Ryan Walsh, what his policy is in terms of responding to Facebook feeds. And maybe he has a policy where he shuffles appropriate stuff to appropriate staff. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him, but it's a good question.
I will absolutely get back to you all with that answer.
Perfect.
All right, so
Sue Haley, did you, wait a minute, I think, Sue Haley, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Well, for the evening, I just wanted to give you guys some information on some follow-up questions that you had from last month. But I do believe some of those topics have been discussed. Most importantly noted is that some neighbors thought from last month that there were 4 breaking and enterings, and that some neighbors had some concerns about air conditioners possibly being pushed in, or that that being the method of the breaking and entering, but that is not the case in regard to these particular incidences. Those entries were done through, or attempted entries were done through either shattering glass or broken windows and things of that nature. And just follow-ups in regards to some concerns about Sargon Street, that information has been forwarded and to the appropriate individuals. And I understand that there were some, of course, speeding concerns. So I just want to let you know that I did touch base with our lieutenant in traffic in regards to those speeding concerns. So I will definitely follow up with you all, or Kathy Brown individually, on possibly what could be a plan on our end. And then I also just wanted to share with you all that you will see an increase of officers wearing body-worn cameras on the street. They're actively currently training officers, and there are many officers who are currently, like I mentioned, actively out on the street with body-worn cameras. So in a few short months, you'll find that pretty much all of SPD will have body-worn cameras. And then also, just for some information, additional information, is that I am in the works of speaking to begin National Drug Take Back for October. I understand with COVID and the pandemic that's happening, we're definitely going to think of creative ways to make sure that this event still happens. So it's definitely in the beginning stages, and as things move forward, I will be happy to share that information with you all.
That's great.
And just as a reminder, we're definitely encouraging you all and everyone who's on the live, or anyone who has any questions, to just reach out to us. My number is always available to you all if you have questions, as well as my email address. If you want to touch base, if you have some concerns that you might want me to follow up with, I would be more than happy to do that, so that we can continue with this work together.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. I think it'd be a good time to find out if Officer Vasquez has anything that he'd like to cover on ordinance issues.
I am monitoring the vacant houses in East Springfield. I I am in contact with the family for Edendale, along with code enforcement, trying to find out who's going to take over the house. I've been keeping an eye on Windermere Street and Bowles Park for that commercial vehicle the past 2 days. I haven't seen it during my work shift, but I am keeping an eye on it. In regards to CRRC and River Valley Chiropractor, which are at 490 Page Boulevard and 655 Page Boulevard, I have been in touch with their maintenance crews about cleaning their properties and maintaining it in regards to the overgrowth.
Very good. And
And that's all I have right now.
you may have seen the one for, I think it's Page Convenience, next to the chiropractor, the new chiropractor there. He's got a cabinet that's been on the tree belt for a while.
On the tree belt on the front, on Page Boulevard, or on the side of the building?
On Page Boulevard side. They're notorious for leaving stuff out and not paying attention. But this is a cabinet that's been on the, it's like a kitchen sink cabinet. It's been on the tree belt for better than a week. It's probably been a couple of weeks. And it has been
Okay,
reported. Yep, it's in
I'll
311.
take a ride over in the morning and I'll look at it.
Yeah, and that one is in 311 too. You probably have it in your list of things that have come through on 311.
Okay. I'll
Very
take
good.
care of that tomorrow morning.
Very good. Thank you.
What about Charles?
Yes. Any questions, or you get anything in the feed there, Guy, for Officer Vasquez?
No, I don't. If it's for me, no, I don't have anything.
Okay, Charles. Okay, off to Charles, and so you're all set.
Yeah.
Very good.
The only thing that had come into the feed was what I mentioned before, which was be on the lookout for the trash.
Okay, very good.
There were a couple questions that were directed to me that I don't think we need to address necessarily tonight, but I think maybe we should put them on the next agenda because I'm just being cognizant of everybody's time. And this is a quote in an email that came into me. How do police address less important crimes so victims feel like they're getting service? Like I can't read my notes. Like vandalism, like stealing of flower pots. So if maybe at some point we can, if somebody wants to address that now, we can, or if you want to wait and put it on the next agenda. Lieutenant, what's your pleasure?
Yeah, I'm not a detective, so I don't know. I would be under the assumption that they exhaust all avenues and treat everything kind of obviously not a murder, but I mean,
Right.
But any kind of vandalism, I mean, I think they go through a protocol, and depending on what kind of elements are available to find the person, they do it like a rating. It comes out with numbers, like, is there a camera? That's a number. Was there identified person? So I guess if you got a flower pot broken and there's no cameras, and they probably, they're not taking DNA, they're
Right.
not, you know what I mean? So I mean, if their feelings are hurt because they don't feel like somebody gave a call and said, I'm sorry, your flower pot got broken. I know they're all professional in the detective bureau and that they follow everything up pretty much the same.
Okay.
So I can't, if it's a feeling thing, I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, thank you. I just figured that what we've told people is any question they give to us, we're going to ask. So we're going to ask it.
Yep.
And one other question that I did have, and I do not have a quote on this one because I didn't write it all down, but one person was concerned about signs on tree belts, illegal signs on tree belts, and they seem to be becoming more prolific in East Springfield. And I responded back to the person to say that East Springfield Neighborhood Council has been fairly aggressive about taking signs off of tree belts. However, with the caveat, during political times, the city's habit in years past has been just to leave the political signs on tree belts. It's sort of talking out of both sides of the ordinances of law, but that question did come. Why are we leaving those signs up? The political
Yeah.
signs up. So I just thought I would just bring that up because I was asked.
Well,
to.
I think if you guys take them down, you're not going to get a problem from me.
Right.
So, but I think if I take them down and I take only one guy's down and the other guy's down, the next thing you know, I'm making a political statement in uniform, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that, but you're not acting on the behalf of the law. You're just doing it because you know it doesn't belong there and you're taking it off. I'm not telling you to do it, but in so many words, I'm saying I don't have a problem with you doing it.
Okay, thank you. That's a fine, that's
Okay.
fine. Yep, thank you.
Okay.
What's next, John?
Just did want to mention that a topic that's come up with traffic has been an increased frequency of loud exhaust, loud mufflers on cars. There seems to be more and more vehicles around that have the tuned exhaust, the large aftermarket pipes on their cars, and I'm assuming that I guess we are assuming that there is a decibel decibel level permissible for state inspection that these things are exceeding, and we're just like to get some help with getting some focus on that in the neighborhood and maybe ticketing as it's appropriate for these vehicles. Seems to be the thing to do today with cars.
Yeah, they would be cited for harsh and objectionable, but what we don't carry like meters on us. I think the traffic bureau might have one.
Yep.
But we don't, as a squad unit, we don't carry that. So the only way it would be brought to my attention if somebody flies by me and I already know it's aftermarket and illegal.
Yeah,
So I'd write them for harsh and objectionable.
Right.
But
And
how they get a sticker with that, I don't. They must have to take it off, get the sticker with the regular, and then go back. They must be juggling it back and forth. But I mean, I'll advise the car in that area, start whacking people. If you hear a loud exhaust, start writing them.
Yeah, we just like to get a focus on it if we could. Bring it to your attention that it is something that's it's annoying.
It drives me nuts when I hear it.
Yeah.
When I hear it, I'll be pulled over and eating a sandwich, and I just want to throw my sandwich out the window,
Yes.
The guy just drove by so obnoxiously.
There are days living here on St. James Avenue, there are days where if it was one car once in a while, it's not bad. But when you add up the motorcycles.
Oh yeah, you're on a main street.
Yes.
It's all day long.
Yeah, and you hear it, and then the music too. I mean, when you put it all together, by the end of the day, it can be, if we're fortunate in the evenings and during the night, it's quiet. So we get a break from it. But so anyways, you give us a little help there. That's good. And so I can wrap up my portion of this agenda quickly. Check your speed. We did have a check your speed on August 14th around the area of 311 Page Boulevard. Had a good turnout from the neighborhood, and the police were there to provide assistance. And a lot of good stuff happened at that Check Your Speed. Our next Check Your Speed event will be September 10th, Thursday, September 10th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. in the area of, it's going to be on Page Boulevard in the area of 2nd Street and Bircham Street. That's, if you're familiar with Page Boulevard, that's that sharp curve where we have a lot of accidents. We're going to focus back out in that area on September 10th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And
4:30.
I think that was, we just reminding the neighborhood that one of our initiatives along with the Check Your Speed, along with the solar radar speed boards that we've have located in the neighborhood, is to get as many of us as we can to post "Drive Like Your Kids Live Here" signs in their front yard. We have those available. Guys got information on the screen there to how you can contact me to get a sign. I'll meet up with you. I'll deliver it, whatever. So we'd like to get as many of those out there as we can too. We appreciate all the police departments doing to work on the speed initiatives in the neighborhood, and just remind everybody that if it's not posted, it's 25 miles per hour when you're driving through the city. And that's all I have.
Okay. Next slide, please. While guys going to the next slide, a question just came in asking if tag sale permits are being issued by the city. They were not. I do not know if they are now. Simplest thing for whoever is asking is to dial 311 in the morning and ask that question. They will know the answer. But last I heard, the city was not issuing tag sale permits, but I don't make the rules, so call 311 and they will be able to tell you.
All right. And Irene just joined me to discuss the Art Out of the Box project.
Everybody, everyone's doing great tonight. Can you hear me okay?
No,
You're a
No.
little muffled.
All right, I've just stolen his laptop altogether. How about that?
oh, it's a much better view.
All right.
Hey,
Now,
Kathy, could I step in for a second?
Yes, sure.
Kathy, do you still need me on the meeting, or
I
is this going to
think
be police related?
no, I think we're just about done with the police stuff. Are we? Anybody on the board think that we have something else for the police? I think we're just finishing with that. Yeah, if you need to sign out, go for it, Lieutenant. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Okay, you're welcome. All
Thank
right,
you.
I'll see you next month.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, I'm
Hello.
sorry, Irene. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. So the kits, the kite kits for August, we want to thank the Springfield Cultural Council and the Mass Cultural Council for their financial support. They're all packed up and ready to go. We've already started to distribute them. Kelly came by today. She's one of our volunteers, and she delivered 20 bags today. I think in total we're up to about I think 35 bags or so that have been delivered. There are still some up for grabs. So if you're interested in one of the bags here while you're looking on the Facebook page, there is the registration. You can also go on to myesnc.com. There's an art at my ESNC section. Go onto the art section and register. It should be closing up soon. I think we have about 20 kits left. So far, people have registered for 80 of them. And so that's going pretty well so far.
Thank you. Very good.
Any other
Any
questions?
questions on that?
No.
Oh, okay. We do have a question inquiring about more details on that special permit for 724, 734 Page Boulevard. The city, at the city council meeting, the city council did vote to recommend all of the special permit conditions that the planning department put on, which included items like making sure the vehicles stayed away from the property line and making sure the sidewalk was
I guess they're happy I've
continuing to
ordered a couple times.
accessible. It also included on the pre-existing lot, which is 724, to have a maximum of 28 vehicles rather than the extensive number above that had been happening earlier. On the 734 lot, it would be 12 cars for sale and 8 combination customer/employee parking. Keeping the bike lane clean, keeping the property clean. Again, the city council has not made their final vote, although they in principle said that they voted to agree on all of the special permit conditions, but because of COVID, they're using a 2-step vote process. So if anybody wants additional information on that, please reach out to me through the East Springfield Neighborhood Council email, or if you have my private email, please reach out to me and I'd be glad to share with you the site plans. And once it's approved by the city council, those site plans and everything will be on our website, but it's right now premature to put something that's not approved. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Anything else?
No?
I would just add, great job, Kathy and the board with coming up with those conditions. Make my job easy. Good work.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anything else? Go ahead, Guy. Go ahead.
The last question that I saw come in was, John, what is the speed limit at the next Check Your Speed event?
Slower.
I've got to drive it to see. I know it's a little crazy on that curve when you're coming from I-291 and heading towards the bulk mail center. The speed limit at the curve, I believe, is 30 or 35 miles an hour in that direction.
35,
35.
Coming back, I believe it's 40 miles an hour.
that's right.
So I think the correct answer is 40. I usually drive it before those areas before I get there. I know the last time we had check your speed, the police officer that was there was using the 35 mile per hour speed limit he was basing his activity on 35 miles per hour, not 40. But I believe it's one of those crazy corners where you look at it and it can't be 40 miles per hour, but I believe that's what it is. But
Are there any other questions, Guy?
Nope, not
Okay.
at this time.
Does the board have any other questions before I close the meeting? And then I just have something I just need 2 minutes to mention to the board when I'm done. All right, then let me adjourn this meeting. If anybody wants to get back in touch with us, please do. Visit us online at myesnc.com. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Yep, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
And if the board can hang back, anybody else who wants to hang back can hang back. But